So today we're going to be talking about somebody who actually, one of the very few people in the WNBA media that came out to publicly defend Caitlin Clark during this entire situation. And I gotta say, like, this is something I'm surprised about. I really am. And I gotta give credit where credit's due to Elle Duncan for coming out and saying this, because obviously in the media defending Caitlin Clark's not going to really get you any brownie points amongst the the crew that seems to be running the WNBA media. It's not going to get you any brownie points, and she's gone and did it. And before we get on to it, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 40,150 by the end of the day. And lads, I've always said this about Elle Duncan. She has said a lot of dumb things, but I never thought any of it was in bad faith. She was making what I felt like most of the time was sports arguments. And look, one thing I hate is you're never gonna like everything a person says. Like, you're just like, for example, for me, there's people that are gonna hate what I say, there's people that are gonna like what I say. The reality is that I'm just speaking my mind on a topic, and I don't feel like there is I'm not gonna say bias, because every single person has some inherent biases, but like, I don't think I'm making arguments out of bad faith. I'm just giving my opinion on situations. And I think there's very much a difference between when Elle Duncan, I think she gives her opinion. I don't agree with a lot of them. I think some of them are dumb takes, but I make plenty of dumb takes, especially some takes can be dumb at the time, and then when you look in hindsight, can look even dumber. And that's the thing when it comes to sports, is like, you're never going to agree with everything someone says. So I never really had an issue with Elle Duncan. The only thing I've had an issue with Elle Duncan is when she slightly misquoted Cheryl Swoops. Like, I mean, misquoted. Cheryl Swoops, and basically she said that Cheryl Swoops said that Katie Lou Samuelson was more important than Caitlin Clark. She didn't say that. She implied that Katie Lou Samuelson and Caitlin Clark were of equal importance to the Indiana Fever. So, a slight misquote, and she then retracted her entire statement, apologized to Cheryl Swoops, and then went on a big rant about how she can't be media disinformation. Instead of just like genuinely, you know what, instead of just apologizing, this was not what happened, but her broader point of Cheryl Swoops hating on Caitlin Clark, and Cheryl Swoops, someone I do have an issue with because I think everything's in bad faith, is like, that point was it. And that's the only thing I've ever really like had like an issue with Elle Duncan, what she said. But at the end of the day, like, that's minor. Like, at the same time though, Elle Duncan has come out and said, about to take a week off and unplug from the socials, but want to weigh in on a hot topic before you do. Caitlin Clark deserved Time Athlete of the Year, and as a member of the W, it automatically amplifies the league. To suggest she's being put on an unfair pedestal because she's being recognized for a truly uncommon and transformational year is absurd. It's like saying, why hand out an MVP when everyone is so important on the team? Both things can be true. Sports always honor individual accomplishments, and there's nothing unfair about it unless it's being used to denigrate others' work. It's about time. Everyone's MVP, no one's MVP. And then you've got you're part of the problem, and probably like this is the thing. It's like, this is the person, by the way. This account is the person who implied that the entire Golden State Valkyries organization is problematic and racist because, they drafted a bunch of overseas players. And then also said Kayla Thornton doesn't count as American because she was born in Germany. But then also Temi Fagbenle is actually, she's not American, even though she was born in America, but she didn't grow up in America. Like, it was looking for every single reason to say that none of these players are American. Like, genuinely. Players get put, like, it's embarrassing. Like, it's embarrassing. And again, that's an account that WNBA players interact with. Why are WNBA media silent? Why aren't you sticking up for one of your own? Fair enough. A'ja Wilson had a remarkable year, 1,000-point year gold medal. I'm sorry, you deserve Athlete of the Year. A'ja Wilson did not deserve Athlete of the Year. Her team were 10 games worse than last year, and they got destroyed in the playoffs. If you want to talk about a WNBA player not named Caitlin Clark to deserve Athlete of the Year, Nafisa Collier, robbed of a championship, they rightful WNBA champions, rightful WNBA Finals MVP. Like, we all know that was rigged. A'ja Wilson did the hop, skip, and jump before taking a dribble. Or not A'ja Wilson, Jesus. Breanna Steward did the hop, skip, and jump before taking a dribble. And then Alana Smith just swatted the ball clean. And it was given as 2 free throws, even on review. But Aja Wilson won a gold medal with Team USA. I'm not joking. Like, if you had have put you could have literally brought a 14-year-old who had never picked up a basketball before, put her on the roster, and given her 10 minutes a game, and the United States still would have won that. Like, it is laughable. The best player in the entire Olympics was, like, in fairness, MMA, someone that wasn't on United States. There was one player, not from the US, that would have made the US team on every other team combined. And she didn't even play for the team they played in the final, and they almost lost. Like, come on. And 1,000-point season, like, do you know what happened to the last person who broke the points per game record in the WNBA before this? It was Diana Taurasi. She didn't even win MVP of the league that year. So, like, I don't understand that give it to Aja. Caitlin Clark got the award because it's as much about impact on the sport as it was about on-field achievements. And also, Aja Wilson played sports for 4 months last year. She played sports for 4 months. Caitlin Clark played from January through September. And what? Aja won 2 more playoff games than her? Like, no. Like, what Caitlin Clark did in college, Caitlin Clark broke Pistol Pete Maravich's record. Caitlin Clark broke Kelsey Plum's record. Caitlin Clark broke a record literally set in the freaking 60s. Was it the 60s, maybe early 70s, with Pistol Pete Maravich? Everyone talks nonstop about Pistol Pete Maravich in college. Caitlin Clark broke that record. Like, she obviously deserved it. And fair play to Elle Duncan actually stepping up. Because you're seeing, if you want to look at the things, and like, look, Aja Wilson did not even come close to deserving this award. And then people are like, my favorite part is that the only people that they're like, oh, this other person deserves the award. It is only American athletes people complain about, by the way. It is only American athletes. Like, if you want to give this award and say just an absolutely remarkable, if you're talking about Olympic year, oh, Aja won Olympic gold. Man, I'm not joking. They could have sent out Cheryl Swoops. They could have brought, if they brought a couple of their players, they could have literally started Cheryl Swoops. They could have brought back the 96 team. Lobo, who got injured in the 90s. They could have started Lobo. They could have started Cheryl Swoops. They could have brought back the 1996 starting 5 and then just had the 5 best players on their bench and ran the 96s for 10 minutes a game, played their bench for 30 minutes if they brought the actual best 5. Like, yeah, like they could have had, if they brought Aja, Stewie, Fee, Caitlin Clark, and give me Jackie Young at the 2. If they brought that 5, they literally could have brought the 1996 Olympics team on the bench and they still would have won the Olympics. Whereas you're looking at, I don't know, for me, I always say that the if you're going to not give it to Caitlin Clark, one, it doesn't have to be a female athlete. Maybe Rodri in football. There's Rodri. There's a lot of the 400-meter hurdler. Oh, I forgot her name, but she's like unbeatable. Like absolutely unbeatable. If you want to give it to an American athlete, probably her. The Dutch woman who won the 5K, 10K, and marathon. But you see, Yusuf, like, unaware of your bias, you're completely missing the story. The real focus is how a particular fan base created a narrative woke crowd is taking on. What are you on about? What are you actually on about? This has nothing to do with that. Has created this narrative. This has nothing to do with it. This is literally about an owner saying Caitlin Clark didn't deserve an award. What are you on about? These people are literally have Caitlin Clark derangement syndrome. And I can't believe I'm quoting this. I can't believe, like, I genuinely was like, okay. Like, there are idiots on all sides. Genuinely idiots on all sides. I'm looking through these and it's thankfully a lot more positive than negative towards Elle Duncan. Thankfully. But when I looked earlier, it was a lot more negative than positive because at the end of the day, they're idiots on all sides. They're idiots of all sides. Heck, like we are, like Caitlin Clark's brother retweeted a post about the Washington Mystics breaking their record attendance when they played against the Fever, and Caitlin Clark's getting attacked for it. But Dolores' friend can be friends with a person who's actively like tried to harm not physically harm, but like who has almost tried to bring harm on players on social media, and there's no issue. Yeah, it's It's just mad to see, and good to see Elle Duncan speaking up anyway. But I'll see you guys.